What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including an update on Becky Lynch's pregnancy, the real reason the WWE is afraid to book the Fiend versus Roman Reigns, Impact wrestlers are fuming, Jon Moxley shoots hard on the WWE, a Hall of Famer accuses Kurt Angle of doing steroids, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Our first story looks at an update on Becky Lynch's pregnancy. Now, Seth Rollins took time off to help his fiancée Becky Lynch prepare for the birth of their first child. During a chat with WWE.com, Rollins updated the fans on Becky's condition as well as what he's doing with his time off. "She's really doing well. Our due date is fast approaching. It's crazy to think we'll be parents soon. I'm sure she's ready to get back to work just like we all are. But yeah, she's been so incredible through the entire pregnancy. In our regular WWE schedule, we're always traveling and never get to be home. And with my fiance's pregnancy, I've been able to spend a lot of time at home with her. I wouldn't have been able to do this on our regular schedule." Rollins spoke about how taking time off for Becky has also been a boost for him physically and mentally. As mentioned in previous news videos, rumor has it Rollins will be back sometime around the Royal Rumble, and the WWE hopes to have Becky Lynch back for a WrestleMania rematch against Ronda Rousey. Next up, Jon Moxley says The Shield was like the Backstreet Boys. Now, Jon Moxley's appearance on Wife Renee's new podcast Oral Sessions has led to a number of incredible revelations, including his rough childhood as well as his frugal spending habits. Moxley talked with Renee about The Shield's early run in NXT and how he, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns went from nobodies to local heroes.
"We were in FCW, literal nobodies. Nobody knew who we were. Came onto the scene a matter of months later. All of a sudden, we're the Backstreet Boys. Like we're going.
I would have gone the Beatles, but okay.
Yeah, we're like whatever. We're like a boy band. All of a sudden, we're like going to malls.
Would you have been the next?
There's chicks going crazy. I don't know. No, I don't know the reference.
He was the heartthrob.
Well, that would have been me then for sure."
The Shield's incredible rise to superstardom on the main roster is one of the WWE's biggest success stories in the 21st century, with all three members going on to main event fame as singles performers. Next up, why the WWE is afraid to book Roman Reigns versus The Fiend. Roman Reigns' return to SmackDown and subsequent Universal Championship win seemed to set the stage for a match against The Fiend. However, according to this week's Wrestling Observer, the WWE nixed its plans for Reigns versus The Fiend. As noted by Ringside News recently, the WWE introduced Wobbly Walrus, an obvious Paul Heyman spoof on the Firefly Funhouse, only to drop the character and move The Fiend to Raw. Dave Meltzer observed, "There are forces who are working at protecting Reigns from bad booking, and the idea that a feud with Wyatt will do him no favors. And while a match between The Fiend and Reigns would be huge, it's difficult to imagine how either superstar could lose without looking weak, as opposed to Drew McIntyre, who lost to Reigns at Survivor Series but still looks strong thanks to outside interference. Do you think the WWE could successfully book a Fiend versus Reigns match? Let us know in the comments down below." Next up, Jon Moxley criticizes WWE's labeling wrestlers as independent contractors. Now, during his talk with Renee, Moxley also discussed the ongoing question over whether WWE superstars are independent contractors as WWE claims or employees as labor rights activists and wrestlers argue. "And when I was doing my taxes in WWE, because you're an independent contractor, which is not true, you're a f***ing employee." Moxley is by no means the only wrestler to argue that wrestlers are employees, but unfortunately, most WWE superstars, particularly main eventers, seem afraid to be speaking out against the WWE. Next up, Bayley's big praise for a WWE superstar. Now, the WWE Women's division is packed with wrestlers, but who has the attention of former SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley? During an appearance on the Table Talk podcast, Bayley spoke about the star who's impressed her, Peyton Royce. "I've always seen something in her. When she first started, her and Billie Kay lived with me for the first month when they moved to America because it was hard when they were coming all that way from Australia to find an apartment. It's hard to get a car. I knew Billie from before. I didn't know Peyton at all, but she was awesome and super sweet. Once I saw her get in the ring, I was like, wow dude, you're incredible. I've always had an eye for her. She just hasn't had the time to show that even when the Iconics were the tag team champions. She just hasn't had that spotlight yet. Kills me that she hasn't had that yet." Now, Bayley has come a long way from her days in NXT and on the main roster as the huggable one, transforming herself into one of WWE's top heels. it's always interesting to hear what up-and-coming superstars catch the attention of current main eventers. Next up, Asuka wants to protect Lana. Now it's likely from their partnership on Raw that Asuka and Lana will be partnering up once again. And in fact, it's possible that the two could have a WWE Women's Tag Team title reign in the future. Now Lana doesn't have many friends in the WWE right now, but one friend who does have her back is Asuka. Recently, the Empress of Tomorrow took to Twitter and says, "I will protect Lana's back." Would you guys like to see these two become Women's Tag Team Champions? Or should Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler hold on to the tag titles a little longer? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a COVID case has Impact wrestlers fuming. Someone has tested positive for COVID-19 in Impact, and it has some wrestlers fuming. According to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, there was a COVID test positive from the last tapings. A few wrestlers were notified to getting checked due to a positive, but were not told who it was. Others in the company were not notified. One wrestler noted to us that most of the wrestlers were not told and were very hot having to hear the news through gossip. The wrestler was believed to be part of a group of several people who all traveled together and were tight. According to the Observer, Impact had not been conducting COVID tests, instead doing temperature checks. This seemed like an absurd policy given the potential for an infection to quickly spread. Next up, Sunny's OnlyFans account has less than 10 subscribers. It looks like WWE Hall of Famer Sunny's OnlyFans account is on life support, as the currently jailed diva has less than 10 subscribers. According to Ringside News' Felix Upton, as of this writing, Sunny is down to 8 subscribers on OnlyFans. She was once boasting $101,000 in 6 weeks on OnlyFans. That amount has drastically fallen. Now you may recall Sunny was arrested last July for operating a motor vehicle during a second license suspension and has not added any new content to her account. Considering membership runs from $22 to $30 a month, it's understandable why people are unsubscribing. Next up, a WWE Hall of Famer accuses Kurt Angle of doing steroids. WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle recently posted a selfie that showed the real-life Olympic hero looking jacked. The 51-year-old physique was impressive, but one WWE Hall of Famer thinks Angle had some help getting ripped. Former WWF champion superstar Billy Graham posted the following on Facebook. So fans, Kurt Angle at age 51 has turned his physique completely around. With hard work, eating the right amount of protein, and taking plenty of roids, he has literally transformed himself into another person. I say congratulations to Kurt, as I've always liked this man from the first day I met him. Graham, whose use of steroids led to an incredible physique during his wrestling heyday, is also believed to have contributed to a myriad of health problems later on. While his comments may seem like a backhanded compliment, he put over Angle as a class act and added, "Again, congratulations on having the guts to train hard. Even with the juice, if you don't train, you can't look like Kurt does here. Way to go, brother." What do you think of his comments? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Stephanie McMahon talks original plans to bring back fans. And despite Vince McMahon's belief he can defy the ongoing pandemic, he's repeatedly been stymied in his efforts to hold shows with fans present. Recently, Stephanie McMahon spoke with Forbes about the WWE's previous plans to run live events with fans in the stands. "We had hoped to be back in the arenas during the fall, but it wasn't to be, so we decided to double down and invest in the Thunderdome. Today we have 1,000 virtual fans every show and nearly 100,000 fans who have signed up for this experience." Now you may recall they had planned on running live events back in July, only for the pandemic to halt those plans. While it's unknown just when the WWE will run shows with fans present, its Thunderdome presentation has been a big improvement over its Performance Center shows. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.